Okay, we're going to be looking at a practice session here looking to develop the overlap. The primary focus, like we've spoken about before, is we're moving the goalie from what would be a zone 3 position down over here into like a zone 2 position. So keys to success here is, we'll just do like an overview for anything as a goaltender. Really, is, I mean, you got to get the eyes across quickly, right? Find that puck. The eyes are going to lead the rotation, slight rotation backwards. Not a lot of big movements on this play, and this is why it's key with this series when we're talking about zone 1, 2, and 3 and the movements of the goaltender, is for them to be able to make small adjustments but be able to cover a large portion of the net. So not a lot of noticeable movement here from the goaltender. As they start out, they get eyes on the puck, the rotation backwards. Now they're shifting into position. As you can see here, we're in a zone 2 spot, and that goaltender has excellent positioning here. Almost nothing to shoot at. Keeping in mind, again, this goalie is sub 6 foot. The puck is a relative close proximity to the net. This is a training center up in Sudbury, but we're looking for the angle adjustment. We're looking for the movement for the goalie, and we're looking for them to finish here with the kill. Right? Nice and clean. Collapses well. Overlap. Gets that foot just outside past the post. Nothing major, but it gets the goalie in a really good spot in a bad angle where they're not going to rotate in, get into that VH, or get into that kind of RVH setup and potentially expose themselves up top. As we back up a bit here, again, we see the goaltender come into position, just a slight movement past the post. So this maybe for some might be a little bit more of an advanced movement, and what I'm getting at is younger goalies, to get this position down, it's almost better for them to come back in, kind of just where it would be right here where they would get their foot on the post, and they would just bump out just the slightest bit into the overlap. Right? So here, a goalie, it's about as wide as I'd want to see a goalie here. I mean, again, you can see the hash marks right here. But again, it's a little bit narrower here. The rink is approximately 60 feet wide. So we're going to be in a little bit tighter than we would be in a traditional rink. But puck position, we're inside the dot lane. The goalie can be lower, wider, and more of an active stance. But as you can tell here, again, this goalie is sub 6 foot. Still a taller goalie, older goalie, university, former CHL goalie. But as you can see, there's almost little to no holes here. And then as we let it play through, the goalie is able to drop down nice and cleanly, make a kill on that play. All right, another nice kill. Good. All right, we have subtle adjustments here with the body as the goalie's coming down. They're collapsing into the puck, tracking that puck really well into their body, really sealing up, no holes at all. Again, if we go back to the clips of the World Junior Games, you can see where this save selection, this scenario will develop in a game. And what we're really trying to do is we're looking at the overlap as an option in addition to, not necessarily in lieu of, the VH, the vertical horizontal, and the RVH, the reverse vertical horizontal. So we want to make sure that all of our goalies have a sufficient amount of tools in their toolbox to be able to deal with different scenarios. So this is also, again, where you want to make sure that the goalie's understanding the why, so that as we're going through these plays here, they have the opportunity to identify where it's going to be most appropriate to use these safe selections. The overlap, again, importantly, is used in a bad angle, can be used in a dead angle. We'll go into talking about the panda later on down the road. Right now, we just want to really focus in on the overlap. Again, developing goalies, so really young goalies that are really looking to get into the VH and RVH is a great way to kind of introduce them on how to play the bad angles into dead angles. Go from there. It's something physiological that all goalies can handle. Low stress relative to obviously going into the butterfly, but you're not getting them into a position where they're going to have to hold their body upright on the post. Okay, so this one here, the goalie doesn't go in quite cleanly on this one, but it's a good learning tool here. So this is what I was talking about for the younger goalie. So his foot hits, and then he tries to release narrow here. So not something he's practiced a lot, but something he's able to execute all the same. Doesn't get a clean kill like he wanted to, but the puck spurts out in a short, soft rebound, something a goalie can work on picking up really quickly. Again, all effective pieces to being able to read and react in a game situation. So there, here on this side, the goalie came back in, and we're working on what would be the third piece of this, or a really advanced overlap technique or bad angle technique, is the narrower drop. So the overlap, if we're teaching it, we're working on the goalie coming back into that zone 2 positioning. All right, coming back in, getting set up on that funnel zone, and getting their body into position that they're taking away time and space on the shooter. Again, they don't have to be overly aggressive here. The overlap would just be the short side foot, in this case the glove foot, being marginally out in front of that post. But what I wanted to point out is that goalie ends up with your skate on the post. So why this is more of an advanced technique is because the goalie has to narrow their stance and be able to release their knees forward down towards the ice versus traditionally where they're kicking out to the side. This is going to allow the goalies to still go into a butterfly, to still work on killing that rebound. Here the goalie's squaring up quite a bit, so we've identified there's no backdoor threat, so they're not going to have to rotate on any kind of potential pass. As you can see, players coming down theoretically on their strong side, stick to the wall. So a lot of benefits to the goalie here. But releasing forward into their knees versus kicking out to the side is more of an advanced technique because young goalies will have to really think about it, and it's something that takes a lot of practice. So if we're looking at this from a developmental perspective, we want the goalies coming back into the zone to skate on the post like we see here, but then bumping out before the shot's released, just to make sure that they're working on getting their footing. Once we've established that, then you'll see, like in the World Junior videos, Thomas Milic was able to go from a zone 3 to a zone 3 footing to a zone 2 footing without having to hit the post, and is not overshooting his post. So that would be the next level for the goalies to be familiar with where they are in the crease, right? That crease awareness, positional awareness is going to be key. As we continue to evolve and get into the higher level game and into the pro game, a lot of pro goalies, when they're coming into this situation, are finding they don't always have an opportunity to kind of bump out. So this is where hitting the post and dropping into that narrow butterfly is going to come into play here. As you can see, the goalie releases forward, ends up getting the kill on the puck. Eyes over the puck, everything balanced. Keys that the hands are symmetrical coming into position, right? We can draw a line right across the waist, hands line up. Pretty good setup here in the body. The feet really aren't too far out in front of the frame. We've got the goalie kind of pushing into position here in this video, so it isn't a clean stop just yet. But we want to notice all the efficiencies here of the goalie as they go down and are able to gobble up this puck. And then just to point out there, again, it is a blocking save, but notice the goalie's reactability. So there's a shift with his hips, with his shoulders in, making sure that he's containing that puck, no rebound.